Yo, what's going on? Long time no see.
That
Welcome
intro-
back to Daily Football Zone Live, episode 12. About maybe a year or so later, but we back. Man, long time no see. How's
Back
everyone?
in
How you guys
action.
doing tonight? I'm here
I'm
with
pumped.
my boy. I'm here
Yeah,
with
I'm
my
good,
boys
man.
X, Dez, and Jake.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
What's up, guys?
It's been a long while.
Hey, but we back.
Hey.
Back in action, ready to go.
Woo.
Right?
Crazy
we
news
took
day too.
right? We took a brief hiatus, but we back. 2021 was I guess you could say a busy year for all of us. Me myself. I take blame for the brief hiatus though, but we back better than ever. We got a crazy, was it day 3 now of free agency? And we got a lot of news for y'all, man. We got a lot of news for y'all for episode 12. Man, it's crazy. It felt like only 12 episodes in, man. But took the year off, but it's never too late to come back and speak some football with y'all. We got free agency, we got the draft coming up, and I'm just stoked to talk about football. How about you guys?
I can honestly say the same here.
Yeah, man. It's been exciting, man.
I know y'all. I know two of y'all definitely excited. I know two of y'all excited. I already see the Davante Adams picture in the background, man.
Yeah,
hey, you did manifest that. You had that up for a long time.
I was sitting here over like 2 years, man.
Oh, it's perfect.
He's manifesting it. He's counting. He was praying every night. Like one day it'll be Raider colors on that picture. You got the Raider flag right next to it. So you was just manifesting.
Yeah, man, I had to pray to my Davante Adams shrine.
One day these two will merge. But we can go straight into the episode, man. We were already talking about it. So yeah, Raiders trade for Davante Adams. Like, who would have thought? Man, I'll tell you right now, I was on my way to get some tacos, bro, when the news broke out. Like, I was crossing the street. I looked at my phone, and my girlfriend was like, bro, you're in the middle of the street. And I was like tripping. It was like, is this what I fucking read? Is this really what I read right now? That's crazy, man. But I know you, X and Dez, I know you guys are, hardcore Raider fans, hardcore Derek Carr supporters. How you guys feeling about this big trade?
Man, I'm not even gonna lie to you, but the first time I had actually heard of it was from you inside that group chat. So you had text the screenshot, and I just looked at it. I thought it was great.
I got the sources.
Yeah. I was shook.
I texted no way, and I honestly, even regardless of compensation, what we gave back to the Packers, I was already penciling this in as a W for the Raiders because we addressed our biggest need. We were probably looking to draft wide receiver in the draft, either wide receiver or offensive tackle or offensive lineman, just anything on the offensive line.
Shut up,
and so it was
J.
cool that we had addressed that, without actually just praying that one of these draft picks will hit because we haven't even been good in the draft. So I think it's a big W for us.
Yeah, I would say you guys been reaching, but that was under a different regime, so now you won't really see what Ziegler and McDaniels would do in the first 2 rounds. But man, it's worth it to wait another year for that when it's only a first and second round pick from this year. Happens to be in Vegas for the draft, but now Raider fans have to wait till the end of day 2 to see the Raiders select unless they trade up.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. After drafting people like Cleve Farrell for certain drafts and shit like that.
Alex Leatherwood, Carl Joseph,
Gary Conley, DJ Hayden. And the thing with Davante Adams is he gives us a certified number 1 option, and I don't know how teams are going to figure out how to cover him, Renfro, Waller, and stuff like that. So I think it's exciting. I think the Raiders are, they're going all in, and it's nice to see them making moves like that.
Yeah, man, and they made him the richest receiver in the league. It was a 5-year, was it 141, right?
Yeah,
141 million. Which he deserves every penny, and to only give up first and second round from this year, and not have to give up multiple firsts or even later round in different years. Like I feel like you guys got a good deal out of that. And then now
the cool thing is they play together. In college,
I was mentioning that reunite.
They won a ring together too, or a championship there. So.
Yes, that's dope to see. I know Jake, you a Steeler fan, so how you feel about looking at what the Raiders are doing? How you feel about this recent trade?
Well, I'll just say right off the bat, the big winner here is Derek Carr. Okay, he has that certified number 1 option for the first time, really. I think, as far as I can remember, since Amari Cooper.
And then Cooper's always been consistent too. So
Derek Carr, he loves the bigger body guys, kind of like a Braylon Edwards, except Adams has a more well-rounded game to him. Good size, speed, not exceptional, but it's good. Route running, footwork, crisp. Maybe has the best release off the line of scrimmage in football out of any receiver. Hands reliable. Very good on those fade routes. In the red zone, Cobb can just lob it up to him, and it'll be just like when they were back at Fresno State. Carr, gotta be happy for him. Also has Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow in the slot. The Raiders.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Something very interesting. Even though most of the news recently has been coming from the other three teams, the immediately make it interesting, and that tells me, hey, they're not going to fold. They're going all in, and they're going all 12 rounds with these other three teams. And
I'm all for it. Have a competition.
Yeah, man.
That's the game.
You guys got Chandler Jones. You traded away, Yannick, and then got what's it called, Rock Ya-Sin out of that. And I mean, it's I know you guys like Yannick, but I'd rather have Crosby and Jones rushing on the outside, and then you get depth at the cornerback position that's still young on his rookie contract. You got young talent at the cornerback position as well. Then you go and you get Davante Adams to pair with Waller, who Waller is already the main target in the passing game. Now you got to focus on Adams, and then Renfrow had a career year as well. So there's no excuse why Derek Carr can't be
Brandon
a top passer this coming season. Yeah. He should be leading, especially statistic wise. With you got Adams, Waller, who are arguably best at their position. You can say Waller's a top 3, top 5 tight end, and Adams arguably 1 or 2, depending on you like DeAndre Hopkins more or not. Fair debate, but as of right now, I'd say Davante Adams is the top receiver in the game. So there's no excuse why Carr can't, take this team. I mean, it sucks that you're playing in a hard division when you got the Chargers and Broncos making moves and the Chiefs are the Chiefs, but there's no excuse why you can't contend in that division.
If we can contend with the Chiefs, Broncos, and Chargers with all that they have on their team, I think if we make playoffs, we'll do pretty good. Because you're playing at a high level the whole year. We're gonna continue to play at a high level, hopefully.
It'll be interesting for sure. But we can talk. We got more Raiders talk later, but we'll get back into that. But we can get into some more, I guess you could say, popular talk around the league right now, and that is who will Deshaun Watson play for in 2022? New Orleans Saints or the Atlanta Falcons? As of about 30 minutes ago, Carolina is officially out of the race for Deshaun Watson. So, X, I'll let you start off, man. Who do you think Deshaun Watson will be suiting up for in 2022? The Dirty Birds or the Saints?
Well, there's two sides of the coin for this debate for me. It's just one is what is the preferred destination that I think makes more sense for Watson, and then what I think is going to happen. Since the question is who will Deshaun Watson play for, I will tell you what I think is going to happen, even though I don't really agree with it, but I think the Falcons are going to get him. But I think the problem just lies with, I don't think the Falcons can sell. They're not in the position to sell their future to get Deshaun Watson. So they might have the picks, but they definitely don't have salary cap. Their team is not really good as it is. I feel like Deshaun Watson is a player you get just like as the Broncos acquired Russell Wilson. When you have a lot of your team in place where you just have to figure out patching holes that was already on the roster. But the Falcons aren't a good team. The Falcons can be a good team next year, but will they be more than that? Can they be more than that? Even with Deshaun Watson, I'm not even sure if they will be more than that. But I do think Deshaun Watson will end up playing for the Falcons because there's a lot of smoke, and where there's smoke, there's fire. So that is my take on it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting which team does what. I would say obviously the Saints have more talent and more to offer compared to Atlanta. Either way, since my Panthers are out, if Saints and the Falcons had to give up a lot, I'm all for it at the end of the day because I feel like they're gonna have to give up a ton if it's draft picks or certain players. Like I said, like who you're saying, who does the Falcons have to give up other than someone like Kyle Pitts? Because their defense, who you got, AJ Terrell. I don't know if they want Deion Jones because he's getting older. Grady Jarrett's getting older. There was rumors that they want people on their rookie contract. So who really do they got to give that's worth it unless they be giving up like 5 first-round picks in the next 5 years?
Exactly.
And I feel like they would have to throw in Kyle Pitts or AJ Terrell.
Each team is going to take a PR hit too, because with getting Deshaun Watson, it comes with the allegations, whether they're true or not. that's going to take a toll on the PR for the team. So each team's going to have to decide if they're going to be okay with that. And I don't know. I'm agree with X. I feel like Falcons probably I've seen the most buzz around. Saints have more to offer them, but I don't know. Saints don't have Sean Payton anymore, and there's no direction with that organization right now in regards to leadership. So I don't know if I see them getting Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and then also the tricky thing is this the whole Matt Ryan contract situation. They recently announced that he's supposed to have a roster bonus due tomorrow of $7.5 million, but they postponed it to Tuesday to let the whole Deshaun Watson thing play out. But it'll just be curious how the whole cap hit is how much dead money is gonna be involved with with trading away Matt Ryan or however they want to do it. I'm sure they're gonna trade him.
Both teams have terrible cap as well. So
well, Saints actually, as of this morning, they restructured so many contracts. They're actually at like $29 million from this morning.
Oh,
surprisingly,
wow.
They're in negative territory or positive?
No, they were in negative. They were, but now they're positive with how many contracts they restructured.
For years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I feel like I'm kind of tricky with that because like if these teams are gonna give these players these contracts, they should have to deal with what they give, and then if they're under, they got to make some moves somehow. But like for the Saints to restructure all these contracts to go from like negative like 50 or wherever they're at to now be positive 29, that's like insane. Like
I think it was negative 70.
Yeah, something ridiculous like that. And now and I woke up this morning, you see they're at 29 million. Like, how does that fucking work? Like, they should, I don't know.
It sucks because, like, bearing any unforeseen first circumstance, they could just keep on kicking the can down the road with the money.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
The only time that it would actually change is if, say, COVID, the pandemic. That was the only time the salary cap has been down the past, I don't know, century maybe. So I don't really foresee anything happening like that again. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
They're gonna get paid a lot soon.
Yeah, it keeps going up every year anyway. It's like the cap space. The cap don't even exist at this point. Teams with negative, end up fucking still bringing in all these talented players to these big contracts, it seems like. But yeah, Jake, I'll let you speak on this, man. Who do you think Deshaun Watson will play for, New Orleans or Atlanta?
It's so tough to think about because in the beginning, neither of these teams were the ones that I even expected. Like, I knew they were in the talks, right? They were involved, but I definitely had Carolina making the move, and now all of a sudden we get news maybe half an hour ago they're out. So that really changes my plans on who I'm gonna pick here. There's another team we could talk about here besides these two, and that's the Cleveland Browns, who have been really involved. And there's reports
that they're eliminated too, though. So
yeah. Now, the thing is, Baker and that whole trade situation with him. I've heard the Colts are involved with that, so it doesn't really sound like we're gonna get a Watson for Baker plus picks type of trade or anything like that. So I think the Browns are kind of out of that now. So salary cap wise, it is a big deal because you got the Matt Ryan situation. If you get rid of him, how much dead cap are the Falcons going to have to deal with that ugly contract? So
yeah, way too much. They're giving them way too much.
So even though arguably the talent in Atlanta, offensively at least, is better, and at least their coaching is in place with Arthur Smith, at least for now, I get it. I'm gonna go New Orleans. I think so. I think someone here said it. The Saints don't really have a direction that they're going in, right? You lose Drew Brees to retirement, future ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. Sean Payton's gone. Michael Thomas, who knows if he's going to play for the Saints ever again. There's no star power on the Saints at all. So if you get Watson, you automatically have that superstar that gives you a chance offensively. And then your defense is easily top 10 for, going forward, and for like the past couple of years, it's been top 10 range easily. So
it's not like they don't have some weapons, but
Kamara, but man, these still need the receiver. If Michael Thomas isn't playing there, who's you throwing the ball to? And then their tight ends, like I don't even know who the hell their tight ends are right now. So, but yeah, Taysom Hill obviously ain't the answer at quarterback. So if it's not gonna be Deshaun Watson, they got to sign. I think they'd sign Jameis Winston back and give him
I
another
heard
year.
talks of a potential 3-way trade between the Colts, the Falcons, and even like the Texans about like Deshaun Watson. People were saying the 3-way trade would involve Matt Ryan too. So I'm interested to see if we could see one of those because I feel like it's been a long time since a 3-way trade has ever happened.
Yeah,
in the
we're like
league.
some crazy like
Some NBA terms and shit.
NBA.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're saying that this might drag over to the weekend, so it's like, who really knows what's going to happen? And it sucks. So, like, especially since I was a Panther fan, I was curious. I was like, I just want to fucking know now. I'm tired of waiting. I mean,
I feel like you speak for everybody when you say that.
Yeah, and that's a tough situation because I don't support what Watson did, and I know it's all allegations. 22 accusers. I mean, it's hard to not think that there is some truth to it, legal or not. Like, even if he was not guilty of the charges, it's a sticky situation because I know as Panther fans, I see people not wanting Watson because of what he resembles, and I get
exactly
that.
why I want him.
Yeah, it's the PR thing in it, and I just want to win at the end of the day. So, man, if it's not with Watson, I hope we do something to figure out our quarterback situation, But since we're speaking about Baker Mayfield, we can get into that right now. Baker Mayfield, I guess as of this morning, requested a trade, but Cleveland reportedly will not accommodate it. And then there's Seattle showing interest in Mayfield, but if Cleveland won't accommodate his trade request, who knows what will happen there. But that's a tough situation to be in when you got your quarterback not wanting to be there at this point. He posted pretty much like a farewell message last night on Twitter and Instagram.
I saw that.
It seems like a sticky situation to be in. Do you guys think this can be rebuilt or Mayfield's out the door?
I just want here's the thing though. How can you just say no?
That's the funny thing. That's what I'm saying. It's a tricky situation.
You're gonna keep him prisoner.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
Like this is like as a team, right? This is about the team, and if you're not all in, then the mindset should be go, just leave. We don't want you here. But apparently, Browns are gonna continue to Browns. So
just saying that eventually, request the trade.
it's very interesting.
The time is done. I feel like all the Browns. I think fresh.
I don't know if it's just me, but you're kind of staticky on my end, Darian.
Yeah, on my end as well.
Mine too.
Maybe it's the headphones, but I'll let you speak on it, X, until Darian can get his signal situated. And
yeah, my take was kind of going to be pretty similar to Jake's, identical to Jake's actually, and the fact that if you have a player he doesn't have the mindset, he's not going to play as hard as he will for any other team for your franchise. Not even that, but he's already accepted the fact that the Browns went to look for somebody that was better than him. They tried to find his replacement in Watson. They apparently missed out according to reports, but I think it's just as Baker Mayfield said himself, the bridge has been burned already. So there's no reason to not seek a trade if you're the Browns as well as Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, that bridge is like pretty much burnt. I don't see like them being able to, accommodate each other's, rekindled a relationship, I guess you could say, because there's also reports saying that the Browns want a quote unquote adult at quarterback. So I don't see how that could be rekindled in, their situations of getting along together. I feel like they need talk it out and then come to agreement that Baker Mayfield needs to be traded because I don't see how they can keep them hostage, saying they're not going to accommodate
that report
it.
is the worst part of the story. So the report comes out, they say they want an adult at quarterback. Okay, cool. So Baker Mayfield says, then trade me, and then the Browns are not okay with that. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation. I mean, there's also reports that he prefers being traded to Indy, and with Carson Wentz being gone, they need a quarterback. If that's the case, I don't see why they couldn't. I understand the in-conference type of conflict, like you don't want to trade him to a team in the AFC, but I mean, if they're interested and they're going to give you what you want, you might as well trade him to somewhere he'd want to go as well. Obviously, I don't think he doesn't have a no trade clause like Watson does, but if Indy's gonna, what was that?
Carolina.
No. I don't know about that, man. I can get into details about Baker Mayfield. He's 29-30 career record. He started 14 games in 2021. He did have a hurt shoulder, but he was 6-8 in those games. They were 11-5 in 2020, the year before, with their first postseason appearance since 2002. I'll give him that, man. I don't know. It's hard because I don't want Baker Mayfield, but I can see the people that do defend Baker Mayfield. I see it as he does get bad publicity just because of who it is and how, obviously his antics back in college and then coming into the league and being the first overall. I mean, he's bound to, he's always been criticized for everything he's done for what I've seen. I don't think he's the worst quarterback, but I don't see him as him being obviously a first overall quarterback in that draft. Obviously, he hasn't panned out to being that quarterback, but I wouldn't want him on Carolina. That's just me. I mean, if he goes to Indy, that's good for Indy. I mean, they still got a good defense and they got some, talent around them on offense. But I wouldn't want him in Carolina. That's just me, though. Maybe Seattle. If Seattle's interested, they still got, DK Metcalf and Chris Carson. And, now they got Noah Fant, too, on offense. And their offensive line's still kind of shaky. But, I don't want Carolina to pull the plug on that and make a trade. I hope not. We don't really have the draft capital for that unless we give like a 6th round pick,
Yeah.
But I hope not. But yeah, we can get into more free agency news though. There's a lot of free agency talk. I mean, we'll cover up pretty much like what went on today, and then we could talk about everything else that pretty much happened the past 2 days as well. But we could start off with the Rams. The Rams are signing wide receiver Allen Robinson to a 3-year deal worth $45 million and $30 million guaranteed. That's another shocker because, like again, people talk about cap space. Like, who would have thought the Rams would have enough money to obviously afford Allen Robinson and give him a $45 million contract? But the Rams doing what the Rams do and getting Matthew Stafford talent on offense after winning the Super Bowl. How you feel about that, X? And what can you expect from Allen Robinson in 2022?
They will make it work. Sean McVay will make Allen Robinson work. I think it's a good fit for the offense. He's a separator off the line type. It'll fit the offense. I think this signing is a little bit more interesting for another reason, that being Odell Beckham Jr. I'm not sure if you guys saw his tweet earlier today. I believe it was, it was a tweet.
I saw that.
Obviously he's coming the next season with a chip on his shoulder and everything. So I think this signing makes it kind of clear that he's out the door for next season, which is interesting that the Rams, I guess it makes sense. It falls in the lines of the Rams knew they could upgrade at the position. So they decided to go for Allen Robinson instead of just re-signing Odell. And so Odell will be free to choose his destination for next season. I thought it was interesting. Allen Robinson didn't sign for a mega deal. It wasn't. Let me see if I can pull up the numbers right now.
Yeah, it's 3-year, $45 million.
Yeah, 3 years, $45 million. So
like
that
30 guaranteed.
Yeah, so I think it was actually like a really good signing value wise as well. So I know they'll make it work. In terms of cap space, obviously people can't figure out how the Rams keep on getting away with just signing more veteran players. But I think it's a good fit.
Yeah, man. Darian, you good on your end?
I take that as a no.
Dave, I can't hear him, man.
He said he's dying.
He's not laughing, but I can't hear him. Hopefully Dez can get his signal and his technical difficulties handled. Because I know I want to hear your input as well on these topics. But I'll let you speak, Jake, man. How you feel about the Rams signing Allen Robinson?
Well, I think where we start is not with Allen Robinson himself, but what do you do with Odell Beckham? I mean, that's the question here. But I think they know what to do. I think they're going to bring him back eventually. They're going to come to terms. I mean, they should. They should. I mean, if they're trying to go all in, they should.
Yeah, we also got to think about Beckham's coming off a torn ACL in the Super Bowl, so he's going to miss the majority of the season. You'd think at least half of it.
Yeah, but then if you're able to bring him back on hopefully not a mega deal, right?
No, I don't see anyone.
And you're winning games, you make the playoffs, and then somehow Odell is able to come back in time for those big playoff games, you're gonna be very well rewarded because we all know what Odell Beckham is, and kind of like X already touched on it. The deal with Allen Robinson, the value is really good for a player like him. I think he kind of showed it last season. He's kind of getting up there with the age, slowing down with the speed a little bit, but his feet are still quick and get up the line. He has the size. His specialty is the jump ball, though, and that's what the Rams need. They need that jump ball guy on the goal line because Cooper Kupp is the separator. He gets open in the middle of the field. Beckham's the speedster. Robinson's gonna be the jump ball guy, and Van Jefferson. Don't forget about him. He's the speedster as well. He can threaten defenses deep. Robinson's going to be, I'm not going to call him like a separator at this point of his career, but he's the big body guy who's not going to be afraid to, go over the middle and get a ball over his safety. And, McVay can do a lot of things with a player but with a player like that, in addition to his offense. So it'll be interesting to see what McVay does with, Robinson and Kupp and all those guys for his offense.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Allen Robinson does in 2022 because he's coming off a down year. He only had like 38 receptions, and I think he was dealing with a hamstring injury for it, I believe it was, playing on the franchise tag with Chicago. But now he's gonna have an actual quarterback because you don't have a bunch of scrubs throwing it to him like fucking Nick Foles and fucking Blake Bortles and shit. So I'm kind of curious to see how he does with what he does with the actual top tier quarterback. But yeah, well, we can get into the next set of free agency news, and that's the Eagles releasing defensive tackle Fletcher Cox. There's been reports that they're trying to bring him back on a cheaper deal. He's been the heart and soul of that defensive line for many years. A 6-time Pro Bowler. He's been All Pro and a second team All Pro multiple times. Do you guys think he's going to end up leaving Philly, or do you think he'll come back?
I feel like it's because of the contract, isn't it? It's because of the contract and cap space.
A cap casualty.
Yeah, they may just try and be. Excuse my English. They may just be trying to restructure the contract, but do they have to release him to do that though? And that's where I kind of get thinking maybe they did mean to release him, and then maybe Fletcher Cox will make his way to another NFL team. Teams right off the bat. The Ravens need a D tackle, Steelers need a D tackle, and there's other teams out there that need, that type of, that run stopper and the guy that can just eat up gaps like it's no one's business. He's got a couple good years in him. I think 2 years maybe left of really good football before he becomes, like a number 2 rotational D tackle. But I think if you're able to get him for like a 1 or 2 year cheap deal, then a team that's ready to win now can really reap those types of rewards with a guy like Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer he's not going to hit the open market, but say he does, I do think he'll end up on a team that's an obvious solid contender. I don't really see him at this point in his career taking a chance on a team that he doesn't believe will contend. So I think it'll be one of those better teams that end up with him.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that, what's it called? The Ravens need a defensive tackle, but we can get into that right now. They actually, I don't know if that means they're done looking at that position, but they actually did bring back Michael Pierce on a 3-year deal. I think it's 16.5 million, something like that. So maybe Baltimore won't be one targeting Fletcher Cox, even though I rather have Fletcher Cox than Michael Pierce. But who knows? Maybe they bring in both because Brandon Williams is also a free agent as well. So yeah, they're missing a hole right there. They're missing players at that position. But yeah, Michael Pierce is reuniting with the Baltimore Ravens. That's where believe that's where he started his career before going to Minnesota. Anything y'all want to talk about with Michael Pierce? Or
he's a big man. Have y'all seen a picture of Michael Pierce?
he'll fit right in on the Ravens D-line again.
Yeah, I think it's a good re-signing though. It's a piece they needed it, and it's a piece they just addressed. So there's not much else to say about it.
Yeah, we can get into more news though. The Cowboys released La'el Collins. Bengals and Dolphins have drawn interest. He actually has he's supposed to be meeting with the Bengals tonight, I believe. Or if they already did already, I'm not sure, but it was supposed to be tonight. That saved him, I think, $10 million in cap space doing that. I think if he does meet with the Bengals, if I'm the Bengals, I would make sure he doesn't leave the building because Joe Burrow needs that protection. You're coming off a Super Bowl appearance when still Joe Burrow getting sacked a lot in the playoffs. Bringing in Collins and even though they signed Alex Kappa, he's a guard, so bringing in a tackle to pair with Jonah Williams, that would be a big upgrade for their offensive line, and Joe Burrow will be smiling back there, having time to pass and being able to run better. Where do you guys think La'el Collins will go, and do you think Bengals or Dolphins should be the right fit?
Well, first and foremost, it's a very unfortunate move for Dallas. They're going to miss him a lot. I know they're in a very icky situation with their cap space, and that's the reason why they cut him. Otherwise, they wouldn't have obviously cut him. The Bengals and the Dolphins need him. They both do. I know we're going to mainly talk about the Bengals because, they're coming off the Super Bowl, right? They're looking to get back there sometime soon, hopefully next season. But you got to remember, the Dolphins are looking to, get the most out of their quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, as well. There's the Dolphins have been in the trade talks with Watson the past year and a half, and I think they've been talking other options as well. And then the Dolphins really want to see what they can get out of Tua while giving him the absolute most around him that they possibly can. Because I'll be the first one to say I'm not a Tua fan. I've never been a big Tua believer, but you can win games with Tua. You give him the pieces, right? You can get to the playoffs. You can win playoff games with Tua, but it's just that he needs things to go his way, right? He needs a system, and then Mike McDaniels. Is it McDaniel or McDaniels?
Mike McDaniel. McDaniel.
Yeah, without the S.
Okay.
The biracial head coach.
Yeah, okay, so Josh McDaniels and
Mike McDaniel.
Yes. Mike McDaniel.
I'm gonna be messing this up all season, but yeah, Mike McDaniel coming from San Francisco, right? He's had some time with Kyle Shanahan, our boy, one of the best offensive minds in all of football, and that's gonna be exciting for Tua. And if they can add La'el Collins to their offensive line, which they desperately need to tackle, then along with weapons like you got Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, along with Waddle.
They signed Cedric Wilson as well.
Cedric Wilson. They signed Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert. So and then you still got what's the Washington running back guy name? What was the running back's name? The one from Washington.
Myles Gaskin.
Myles Gaskin.
The Washington running backs from that
season.
Savon Ahmed.
Yeah, Ahmed as well. So I mean, you got four very versatile running backs in the backfield. Very elusive. So bringing in Edmonds. I didn't think they're bringing Mostert, but then Mostert obviously reuniting with McDaniel. So I can see that being a reason why as well. But there's definitely talent on that team, young talent on that team, and then bringing in Collins to be able to protect Tua and not get hit because obviously Tua's had his fair share of injuries in college and in the pros already. So bringing in Collins, someone with the talent like Collins, would be a big boost to that offense for sure.
It's going to be a very competitive market for La'el, 100%.
Yeah, I'm sure he's drawing even a lot more interest than those two teams. So,
I'm going to bring this up while we're still on the topic of the Bengals, but can we just talk about how much the Bengals front office has matured? I feel like a couple of years ago we were talking about how Mike Brown was one of the poorest owners. He wasn't willing to spend money on big free agents.
Yeah, and then kept Marvin Lewis for way too long.
I'm not sure if it was the Super Bowl run that made them feel the sense of urgency, but I do love how they, this offseason
actually spending money and
they addressed their O-line. They got Alex Kappa. They even signed Ted Karras, was it?
Yeah, Ted Karras.
They signed Ted Karras, which was also a good signing because he's versatile. He could play center or either guard position. Oh, cool! Another Bengals headline.
Yeah, I'll bring up the Bengals banner now that we're speaking about them. But yes, since you're talking about their moves, they did re-sign Brandon Allen and Twitter famous Eli Apple, and then also signed former first round pick from Baltimore, tight end Hayden Hurst. But yeah, you can keep going if you have any more to say about what they've been doing on offense. I just wanted to bring it up.
I'll touch on the Hayden Hurst signing. I do find it funny how like a lot of Bengals fans, they were disappointed over letting CJ Uzama leave the building. I get he was a fan favorite. He was, the locker room guy. He was the gel of the team. But I do
feel
think
like they overpaid him in New York.
Yeah, I
They gave him
feel
like
the same.
24 million.
I
Jeff
think
gave him
Hayden
24 million.
Hurst is that same tier of tight end. So I think that was also a really good signing. And even maybe this might be an unpopular opinion, for as much hate as Eli Apple gets, he did step up for them for the stretch that they made the playoffs in,
Yeah.
that they won the
Thank
AFC
you.
North in.
Thank you.
People just want to talk about his tweets and then want to trash him for it, even though I kind of enjoyed his tweets, to be honest, because they're being bashing I kind of enjoyed them, but yeah, people want to act, just because of the Super Bowl and that he, allowed a touchdown, and his tweets, people want to act like he's been like which I guess still got reason to call him I guess you say scrub, because he hasn't panned out to being a first round pick by New York and he's bounced around the league, but you can't discredit what he did do on their run for Cincinnati,
And if you remember in the divisional round versus Tennessee, when the Bengals got that last interception on Tannehill, it was Eli Apple that made the play on the receiver. It was a good ball by Tannehill. It wasn't even his fault. It was just a great play by Eli Apple. But then, the interception happens. Off the deflection, gets picked. Whoa. Ryan Tannehill, he's awful. Get rid of him.
right? No,
The
Tannehill
narrative
gone.
changed.
But it's
That's the media for you.
Ryan Tannehill's good. Get over it. It was Eli Apple who made the play. I mean, but he got no praise for that. So it just that's what Twitter.
Yeah, it's the media for you. They paint narratives, and people without having their basic knowledge will just ride with what the popular thought is, and
pretty much.
I go off about that all the time, that people don't have minds of their own. So they just go off what everyone else is saying,
Yeah, that's why I was kind of surprised that the opinion that I had was very unpopular. I'm surprised that you guys actually agreed with me. So
I didn't mind. I don't mind his tweets.
Yeah, and I believe the deal was it a 1-year deal to re-sign Eli Apple for, was it like $4 million? I believe. I don't know. I remember it being a really value contract. Let me search this up actually.
Yeah, you guys are probably ahead of me on that. I'll let you look it up.
Yeah, but until he's looking it up, I'll talk about Brandon Allen. Yeah, they re-signed Brandon Allen. He's been with the team since 2020. He's 1-6 as a starter, but his stats aren't bad career-wise. He's thrown for 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, 6 picks on average. He's 1-2 for Denver in 2019, so he's had some starts under his belt. Not the greatest of records, but I guess you could say during those times Denver is bad, and when he started some games for Cincy when Burrow was out, they're bad. So. But his stats are decent, so I guess he's solid for a backup when you need to throw him in there and try to win you a game. But yeah, they're giving Joe Burrow some security in case anything happens.
Yeah, and you compare Brandon Allen to some of these other no offense to him, obviously, these other like third string worthy quarterbacks. Just why bring another one in when you can just re-sign this guy who already knows?
You got, yeah.
He knows the team. He's got chemistry with everyone in the building, so it just makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense to also bring back Eli Apple as well, who helped you in the run to the Super Bowl.
I did get the numbers on the contract, which I was right. It was a 1-year, $4 million deal, so it was a very value signing.
Cheap deal. Yeah.
Chances are he won't even be a starting corner. Say they draft the cornerback.
Yeah, it's more depth, if anything.
Yeah.
Which you need a lot of that at the corner position these days. You need the depth because it's a much more of a passing league.
Yep.
But we can get into more AFC North news. The Steelers released Joe Schobert. How do you say it? Schobert. Joe Schobert, and re-signed cornerback Akella Witherspoon. And they also made a couple moves like bringing in Miles Jack, which makes sense why they got rid of Joe Schobert, and then your boy Mitch Trubisky on a 2-year deal. Jake, I'll let you rant about your recent Steeler moves this free agency, man. How you feeling now that Big Ben's gone and there's a new regime at quarterback?
Well, Big Ben's gonna be missed, obviously. 18 years in the league, future first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. I thank him for everything that he's done for the team, and but to also keep this in mind, I'm not just a Steelers fan. I'm a football fan. I like to, I like to try and keep things real rather than, just
be
go
biased.
Exactly. I'd rather be real than just, bias. So, with that being said, thank God it's time to move on. Like you should have retired 2 years ago.
I feel like we've been saying this since we started this like 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only right we come back when he retires.
As far as Schobert and Witherspoon, both of them were good moves. Obviously, Schobert was for the salary cap, and I figured with the addition of Miles Jack, now we have quite enough depth at linebacker. It's not the best, but it's enough to warrant the release of Joe Schobert along with the salary cap. I think it was 8 million. I think it was like 8 million or 7 million in cap just for him alone. And then re-signing Akilo Witherspoon, got him in a trade. I think it was during last season. Gave up a 5th round pick. We got him from Seattle, and he was a major contributor down the
San Francisco.
Excuse me. It was an NFC West team. Same thing. But he was to my surprise, because when the trade happened, I thought nothing of it. I thought it was just a depth signing, a rotational piece. If someone gets hurt, he'll come in. But to my surprise, he was one of our better man corners on the team.
Yeah, he had 3 picks in 9 games last year. So
and in that Vikings game on Thursday night, he was the guy that was man to man with some of those Vikings receivers. He came in with a pick. He was one of those guys that helped us almost come back from, I think it was 29-3 down.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, you guys were down a lot.
Yeah, we were. I wonder why. Anyways, yeah, there's loads I can talk about, but let's try and keep things light and positive.
Yeah, man. But Mitch Trubisky, do you think he's going to be the starter week 1, or do you guys draft a quarterback and then have him battle it out, or have draft a quarterback and have him sit behind Trubisky, or what do you think they're going to do in that route?
As far as what we're going to do with the position itself and the draft and such, I can't tell you who we're going to pick anymore. I really don't know, because we filled almost all the voids that needed to be filled during free agency, except for maybe quarterback, maybe defensive tackle, a corner too. I think even though we re-signed Witherspoon, we still need that like number 1.
Joe Hayden's free agent as well. He's getting older, so
yeah, there's a chance he's not brought back. He might not be. We still need a corner regardless, though, because none of these other guys are gonna work out for this team. But I'll say this though about Mitchell Trubisky. I like Mitch. I like this signing for the Steelers. I'm being completely honest with you here. He fits what Matt Canada wants in an offense. He needs a mobile quarterback, and Trubisky's athleticism goes so far under the radar just because of his some of the decisions that he makes when he's throwing the ball and such. But he's an athlete, and he can run around as a quarterback, and his arm is, it's not terrible at all. It's a pretty decent arm. He gets a lot of flack for being picked number 2 overall ahead of Watson, Mahomes, and then stuff like that. But he also got flacked on by things like Matt Nagy. I don't think he did him any favors, honestly.
No, Matt Nagy is horrible.
I even read some reports I think it was a couple weeks ago or a month ago or so, where Mitch Trubisky would show up to the building for quarterback meetings and Nagy wouldn't even be there. He wouldn't even show up.
I read the same report. I remember this.
Yeah.
Hello.
So now it goes to a more professional organization. No offense, Chicago. And then I'm excited actually. I'm excited for the potential just to see what we could do with Mitch. Is he our 10-year starter or long-term solution? No, and I don't believe that. But for the next year or two, as a bridge option until we potentially do get our answer by then, it's going to be very fascinating to see what Pittsburgh can do as they replace Ben with Trubisky at least for the next year or two.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do at that position. If they roll with Trubisky for the next few years, or draft a quarterback to learn under him. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, I didn't think Trubisky was going to Pittsburgh. It kind of shocked me, to be honest. But we got Dez back in the building. It sounds like he's sounding better, looking better.
Y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, you're good. You're good now.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Right.
We can go on to the next topic though. So sorry you missed out on it, Dez. You missed out on a couple
No,
topics,
we're
but it's
good.
all good. We can go into the Bills, the Buffalo Bills. Speaking of Trubisky and the Bills, which he got a year under to learn under Josh Allen, pretty much. But the Bills release a veteran slot receiver Cole Beasley. They also brought back a familiar face in defensive tackle Jordan Phillips, who was recently cut by Arizona. Then he also brought back another familiar face in defensive end Shaq Lawson, and not to forget that they also they signed Von Miller yesterday to a big contract. So kind of surprising with the Von Miller contract, to be honest. I didn't think any team would give him a 6-year contract. He's already in his early 30s, so he'll be 39 by the time that contract ends. And to give him that much big money, which he has been hurt past couple of years. I mean, last year he wasn't hurt, but obviously not the same production as what he used to be. But how you got? We'll talk about all this, but we'll start with Von Miller first. Dez, I'll let you start off since you coming back, man. 6 years, it was like 120 million or something like that.
120 million.
How you feel about how you feel about Von Miller?
That's too much. I think. I mean, like you said, he's older. He's not the same production as he used to have. Even ever since leaving the Broncos, his production hasn't been the same either. I don't know. I mean, it's a good move. He's still going to be productive, but to me, it's kind of like the Khalil Mack trade. Like, these are players that are well past their prime. They're not washed by any means, but they're not going to give you the same numbers they used to give you. But it's a decent move. It's a good move.
Good depth for Buffalo. Like, I like the signing. I don't
veteran leadership as well.
Yeah, I like the signing. I don't like the contract.
Yeah, it's like when the Raiders signed Casey Hayward.
If they give him a 3-year, $50 million, I'd be more satisfied for him.
It's more realistic
for that,
right?
But for 6 years, 120, that's kind of, I thought that was kind of high. But if they got the money for it, they got the money for it. I mean, they paying a veteran that has accomplished a lot in this league, coming off another Super Bowl win. Jake,
right.
Yeah, how you feeling about Buffalo's moves?
Well, I'm not shocked with the Beasley release. They need to clear some things up there.
He's controversial too.
Yeah, that's the main reason why. Jordan Phillips, they need a defensive tackle and they need depth there. They could go that direction in the draft as well, potentially, if there's a guy that they like there. But yeah, they need that depth and they couldn't really afford to let him go.
And he's a big guy too.
Yeah, and
familiar with the team. He spent like 2 years there.
And same thing with Shaq Lawson. They need edge as well. It's a position of need in terms of like star power and depth. So again, couldn't really afford to let go of Shaq Lawson. So
pair him with Greg Rousseau as well.
Yeah, Rousseau, and then you got Epinesa still there. So they got a lot of like rotational guys, and you bring in Von Miller to rush the edge as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Jordan Phillips to pair with Ed Oliver, and then if they want to, go another route, a defensive tackle, maybe Phillips isn't the guy. They could draft a guy. I still think they need a corner because they lost Levy Wallace. He went to Pittsburgh, didn't he?
He did.
So speaking of Pittsburgh, that was a good signing actually. He's pretty good number 2 corner. But yeah, I feel like they need I would say another veteran at corner, and there's still a lot of good cornerbacks out there. If it's someone like Joe Hayden or even someone like Sherman, or I'm trying to think who else there is. But getting Tre'Davious White back, and you still got Poyer and Hyde in the secondary, who are stout at safety. Bills can they still got Diggs, they still got Allen. I mean, you can still improve on the run game. But they're still trying to contend to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, and that they're close. They battled it out with KC, so that you can expect a lot from Buffalo this coming year. Barring no setbacks or injuries. Is there anything else you want to get on this topic? Got anything you want to get off your chest, Zach? So we can hop into.
I'll give I guess a short explanation of my feelings on everything since you guys already made your takes that line up close to mine. But as with Cole Beasley, I'm sorry. I think that speaks more towards the emergence of Gabriel Davis, and I think they are starting to trust him a lot more, especially after not even just the playoff game against Kansas City, but he was reliable down the stretch in the playoffs. So I think that was good. Same with Jordan Phillips and Shaq Lawson. I believe they're solid starters that you could just plug in and play. So I think those are two really good signings. I'll touch up on the Von Miller signing. I did like Von Miller going to Buffalo as a destination. The contract I didn't really agree with, and the reason why is I believe it's different from the Khalil Mack trade, and even with the Raiders signing Chandler Jones, I feel like it's different. I feel like with those, I think they were more pressing needs because they wanted that second rusher to go along with the elite pass rushers they already had. As where Buffalo, they don't have that type of guy right now, and they're trying to depend on Von Miller to be that guy, which I don't think Von Miller is that guy at this point in his career. He was with the Broncos early on in his career. But I believe it was after the 2017 season, he hadn't really been the same after that. So I guess I don't really get it from the contract because they're paying him as if he is like an elite rusher compared to like if they already had, a Max Crosby or Joey Bosa on their team. I feel like it'd be more pressing of a need where it kind of justifies that higher contract because he will be perfect in that spot as a secondary rusher. So I feel like he definitely was more of a fit going to a team with a better pass rusher with the contract he has.
Yeah. It's big contract for an older veteran. But yeah, Cole Beasley, not surprised by that. I mean, he's turning 33 next month, so he's getting up there in age, but I mean, he's still, I guess you could say, pretty decent at the slot receiver position. Jordan Phillips spent 2 years in Arizona, now going back to Buffalo. And then Shaq Lawson, he bounced around the league the past 2 years, and he's reuniting in Buffalo again after I think he was a first round pick back in like 2016 by Buffalo. So
yes,
he's coming back, I guess to say home to where he started off. But we can get into more news. We got some more news. We got the Falcons signing Casey Hayward, Elijah Wilkinson, and running back Damian Williams. So I know Casey Hayward, y'all familiar with this past year in Las Vegas.
I think that's a solid pickup for the Falcons because he gives you veteran leadership, and you compare him with AJ Terrell, and Terrell had a really good year last year too. So
he had a really good year.
To see their freaking DB locker room. Elijah Wilkinson, another good tackle. He's a solid tackle. He's not the best, but he's still pretty solid, and he still has room to grow.
He played 120 snaps for Chicago last year. I mean, he gave up 1 penalty and 1 sack. I mean, he played his first 4 seasons in Denver. So, man, he's been in the league for I think this is his 6th year coming up. So, I'm not sure if they plan on plugging him in as a starter. I'm not sure what their O-line's looking like, but if not, it gives him depth for sure. And then Damian Williams is a San Diego native and a veteran guy that can be back there with Cordero Patterson and Mike Davis. So I don't mind the signing with Williams, but how you feel about this?
I think it's a step in the right direction. No, I was just gonna say I think that these acquisitions are just a step in the right direction for a team that's kind of been really inconsistent ever since they lost to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. They've had certain pieces, but they just haven't been able to put it together. So shoring up the defense and the line is a start in the right direction for the Falcons.
Speaking of Atlanta, though, this tweet was posted earlier today by Kyle Pitts, but was eventually deleted, saying it's about to get scary in Atlanta. He also shares the same agent as Casey Hayward and Deshaun Watson. Do you think that is something that he news with Watson, or he's just saying that about Casey Hayward?
Yeah,
I doubt it's
the bad PR.
Hayward. I'm gonna be straight up with you right now. I doubt it's Casey Hayward. I mean, to make
it feel he posted like 10 minutes after the news broke about Hayward. So it's like, is it Hayward? Is he really talking about Hayward, or is it Watson?
He claimed that it was Casey Hayward after he had deleted the original tweet, which was I think it was kind of funny. I feel like he's kind of trying to mislead us with that one, but who knows?
Yeah.
But like, if it was Hayward, though, why delete it?
Exactly. There's no point to that. He could have just left it up and then sent out a tweet like, "Hey, that was about Hayward." You know what I'm saying?
Like, y'all speculating this is about Hayward.
I mean, if you think about it, trading Matt Ryan to the Texans could be a move. and getting Watson like that.
I think they have too much respect for Matt Ryan to pull off a move like that. I do think.
I mean, you saw what Russell Wilson in Seattle.
Well, but Russell
also,
Wilson
the thing is,
wanted
though-
to go, and he wanted to go to Denver. Matt Ryan, there's no way he would want to go to Houston.
But also the thing is, though, the dead cap moving off of Matt Ryan, it's going to screw Atlanta like 1 or 2 years. It's going to be awful. I don't think they want to do that.
Yeah, nah. I mean, they could make some moves, but you just never know.
Oh, and I'll say this in terms of Watson. I found this interesting. I saw a report on this. So the Saints, they approached Deshaun Watson. Watson approached Atlanta. So I found that very interesting.
Yeah, I think that kind of added on to the smoke why I said earlier why I think Deshaun Watson will end up in Atlanta, even though I feel like I'd prefer if he'd go to the Saints from a team's perspective.
Yeah, and then like Jake was saying before, the star power behind Watson.
He's also from he's from Georgia, Gainesville, Georgia. So I mean, obviously location is probably playing factor. That's why Carolina had a big buzz because he played at Clemson and it's also not far from Georgia. So they putting in the factor of being close to home and being close to Clemson and what he's familiar with. But as right now, I mean, New Orleans did have a second meeting with him, but it looks like Atlanta's kind of looking like the favorite. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and you got to think he's coming out of that legal scandal, and like you said, he might want to be next to home, after all that.
Right.
And what better place than Georgia?
Just not Las Vegas though. There's too much distraction.
Yeah, nah, he's not surviving that. He ain't built for that.
But speaking of Houston, this is a random signing. Texans sign a linebacker, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, who Darian didn't know who he was, but he had a career year last year for Detroit. Man, he recorded 82 tackles in 15 games, started 11 of them. They signed him to a 2-year deal worth $7.5. So nothing too crazy, but bringing in depth and hopefully he can be a ball hawk for the Texans defense. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Just wanted to.
I feel bad for David Culley. I thought he was a great coach for what he had.
Yeah, man, they kind of did him dirty, and then they bring in Lovie Smith.
Yeah, okay.
And that man got a full on white beard now and everything. Like,
yeah,
there were some conspiracies about that.
Yeah, this man got like a full on white beard, and where'd that come from?
There was talk about the Josh McCown ending up getting the job for Houston until the Brian Flores news broke out when he was finally in the lawsuit, and people are saying that the Texans definitely backpedaled with that because they ended up hiring Lovie Smith after, which they could have had Lovie Smith and David Culley.
And that goes with the whole Deshaun Watson thing, because I'm sure Washington would want to trade for Deshaun Watson if they didn't have their own scandals going on in their front office about sexual misconduct and all that. I'm sure Washington would love to trade for Deshaun Watson, but obviously they can't do that with how they're looking in the front office. So
who knows what Washington is doing?
a lot of inside business going on there. But yeah, they signed Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Maybe he'll make a splash this year, and Darian will be familiar, and he'll become a household name. But yeah, 82 tackles for Detroit. Obviously, playing for Detroit, you're not gonna get that much buzz. So he had a career year. He got paid $7.5 million for 2 years. So salute to that. But we can get into other news. We got the Giants releasing veteran defensive back Logan Ryan. Only saves him about 800. What I saw, it was only 800,000. According to Jeremy Fowler. I mean, he's a 31-year-old veteran. I mean, he played for New York the past 2 years. He did have 117 tackles and a sack last year, but I'm sure they're ready to move on. I mean, he was giving up 67.3 completion percentage, so I'm sure they're looking to get younger in the secondary, and Logan Ryan had to go.
Yeah, I think he was definitely like more of a fit with the Belichickian type of defense that Patrick Graham had ran or whatever. I think he is right now. He's just got cut as a cap casualty. Plus, they have the coaching turnovers. So
yeah, they want their guys in, and man, they're saying James Bradbury might be on the move, and it'll be interesting to see what New York does. But we can get into more news. Patriots signed Ty Montgomery to the 2-year contract. He spent the past 2 years in New Orleans. Hasn't really been much since, he's bounced around the league since his time in Green Bay.
I think it's just a depth move for them. Probably going to fill what Brandon Bolden is leaving.
Yeah, and they re-signed James White too, so they're keeping him as well.
So they run the back.
They got Ramondre Stevenson, so they're always going to keep their running backs. We'll see if Ty Montgomery even stays on the roster, to be honest. But
Yeah, Damian
Def,
Harris.
I guess. Damian Harris. So yeah, that's probably just Def. He might not even make it past the preseason for all we know. It's just a notable name.
Most likely.
He'll still
Yeah,
be
he's-
rocking that number 88.
Yeah, just a notable
believe it.
name.
It's nice to see. Came a long way.
Yeah, we can get to Jaguars talk. I know this is what happened today for them is they resigned cornerback Trey Herndon. He played 9 games for Jacksonville last year. He was undrafted in 2018, signed by Jacksonville. Been with the team ever since. But I wanted to just bring up Jacksonville just to talk about the recent signings with like Zay Jones and Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. I know they gave Christian Kirk a lot of money. He's been a lot of people criticizing them for that, man. How are you guys feeling about the contract that Christian Kirk got and then the rest of the signings?
I'll let you guys speak on Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. I'll just say this before this thought goes away, but I really hope, and this is completely unrelated to that, I believe, but I really hope the Jaguars don't sign Darius Williams to a really big contract only to play him as slot corner, because they already have I always forget Shaquille Griffin versus Shaquem Griffin, but Shaquille Griffin and Tyson Campbell both on the outside. So I don't really see how Darius Williams fits. And he has played slot corner before, but he is on his best when he's playing on the boundary. So I don't know. I feel like on top of the ridiculous contracts they gave to Zay Jones and Christian Kirk, that is also a very confusing move, which I will let you guys speak on right now.
I think paying Christian Kirk and Zay Jones that money is a little suspect,
That's
only
robbery.
because Zay Jones only scored like 2 touchdowns last season. And I mean, I know he came through, at certain times when we needed him as a Raider fan, but I don't think he's deserved of that kind of contract.
Not even
the numbers
Kirk, man.
aren't- Yeah, Kirk either. I mean, he was a second option in.
He's only had 4
on the
100-yard
Cardinals.
games in like 4 years.
Yeah,
And he
just
became
doesn't
what,
put
the
up the
third
numbers to back
highest
it up.
paid receiver, maybe now 4th. I don't know where Devontae Adams was before today, so maybe
Yeah.
he's the 4th highest paid receiver now. So yeah, that's
Yeah, you gotta.
kind of ridiculous in my opinion. I think that's robbery. But
Yeah, at first I thought the Jaguars were doing good with the Doug Peterson hiring, and then,
This might be
This
more of a
looked
Trent
weird.
Baalke signing, though.
yeah,
yeah, a lot of people don't like their GM. So
I can understand why.
yeah, man. You got any input on this, Jake? How you feel about these big contracts that be given to these subpar players? I guess you could say.
Well, I'll kind of touch on what X said about Darius Williams. I hope he gets playing time on the outside. I don't really see him playing in the slot too much. I think he's more like that, like a boundary guy. Like he's a number 2 boundary guy, not like that number 1 certified, stud
Follow the
corner.
receiver type shit,
Yeah. He guards the number 2. Sometimes the number 3 if he lines up out wide. I think he can play the slot though. I'm not gonna discredit his abilities there. I think he can do it. It's just I think he needs and he needs to rotate between the slot and outside at the very least. As far as Christian Kirk goes, the contract. I'm not gonna be too different from you guys here. It's overpaid, and he's the 3rd highest paid or 4th.
Well,
But
it
he's
was
up
3rd,
there.
but I
He's
don't know
up.
where Adams was in the top
believe
3.
he's
I
up
if
put
he was.
Adams
Yeah.
slots in at 2nd right now. So
I think before Adams he was the 3rd, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, Hopkins. I know Hopkins was 1st, but I think Adams' contract today makes him the highest.
Yeah, 20.
I don't know if he was
Yeah,
number 2.
yeah, he's
though.
the highest.
I don't know if Adams was number 2 before today, so I don't know if he's still 3rd or 4th now. I'm not sure, but to even be in the top 5, let alone even being a top 10, he's not even a top 10 receiver. So the fact that he's even in the top something, that's kind of it's robbery. You make it too much.
Definitely, and I agree with that. But Jags do need a receiver. That's no secret. I know they overpaid to get Christian
That
Kirk.
money they could have kept DJ Chark.
and that was my problem with it.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably
DJ
And
could.
Chark
they
went to
probably
Detroit, right?
could have got him for a cheaper deal because he only got $10
Yeah,
million
and
from him.
DJ Chark's like that outside receiver.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
I
He's
don't know
fast.
who the Jags. I don't know who the Jags are going to have as their outside target because as of right now, they just have a bunch of inside guys.
Is Marvin Jones still there, or is he a free agent?
Marvin
I
Jones
think
is still there.
I think he's
He's still there. They still got Laviska Shenault, who I like. He
I
hasn't.
heard rumor he was on the
He's
trade block.
Jags. Jags
think
is
a
fucking
change of
suck,
scenery
but
would be
I like
good
I
for him.
I like Laviska since Colorado, so he's he can play. He's like a Cordero Patterson type. You could put him in the backfield and in the receiving game, but yeah, Jaguars are still a mess even with Doug Peterson, which some people are still iffy with that. 'Cause a lot of people don't like Doug Peterson either, even though he
I
does
love
have
the
a Super
hire.
Bowl. Even
I
though
love
people he has a
hire.
Super Bowl under his belt, but a lot of people
Yeah.
some people liked it, some people didn't. But
He's
you know,
for coach. Solid.
Oh boy.
is that Dez's end again?
I hear it on my end as well.
I'm sorry, Des, man. I don't know if it's your internet or your
Sorry,
headphones or I don't know. You gotta figure that out before we go live again next time.
I guess I'll touch up on the Darius Williams thing again. I think what I was trying to say earlier was I just feel like it would be such a Jaguars thing to do to sign Darius Williams to this contract to be like a boundary corner, and they'll just end up playing him at slot because, yeah,
Yeah, Jags are. I mean, they've always been a mess for majority of their franchise
Aren't
years.
they the newest team in the NFL?
No,
They're one of them.
Or
They're-
the Texans
one of
are the
them.
newest?
then the Panthers and
Texans,
Jaguars.
Baltimore, Carolina. Carolina came with the Jacksonville. So they're one of the new ones. Yeah. So
Houston's the newest, born 2002.
yeah. Them and Baltimore was 2 as well. Ravens. 2002
Ravens
as well.
was
2000.
I think that was when
2000,
the
right?
Browns, no, it was when the Browns left in '95.
Yeah. So I
Ooh.
mean, they're one of the newer teams too.
Yeah.
Crazy to think. You think like Ravens would have a fucking dynasty type like history, but no. But yeah, we can get into more news around the league. Just some veteran news like the Cardinals re-signing punter Andy Lee. Nothing too groundbreaking. No blockbuster
Serviceable.
there. He's been in the league for seems like 20 years now type shit. He's been around. We have I don't even want to talk about them. The sorry Panthers, they have interest in all pro punter Johnny Hecker. They also signed Damian Wilson, who had a career year with Jacksonville last year. He spent time with the Chiefs before that. But man, I don't even want to rant about these guys. I might rant about it later. But if they can bring in Johnny Hecker, they're probably gonna be punting a lot. So man, that'll be good for them. Damian Wilson, I think Jermaine Carter Jr. is a free agent. They still got Shaq Thompson, so bring in Damian Wilson is a good piece, especially coming off the career year that he had. Excited to see what he does. They also brought in Xavier Woods, the safety from Minnesota. He also spent time with Dallas, so he's coming off a three interception season. So I'm curious to see how he does alongside Jeremy Chin. And then they also signed the Rams guard Austin Corbett. So they're bringing trying to get some protection up front because obviously their O-line's always been a mess for years. So bringing in Austin Corbett, I like the signing. I'm hoping we could bring in at least one more guy to maybe at center because I don't like Pat Elflein, and then Matt Paradis is a center. He's a free agent. He was our center till he got hurt, but he's a free agent. They moved Pat Elflein to center, and then I think Michael Jordan, the GOAT Michael Jordan, is our left guard. So I kind of don't want I don't want that Michael Jordan at left guard. I'd rather have a better left guard or a better center. But that's pretty much the Carolina Panther world. I can go into a rant later about that. But we can get into more news unless y'all got something to say about Johnny Hecker or Damian Wilson. Or...
Hecker,
comment.
Johnny Hecker, bring him in.
You want to be punting 10 times a game in that division? You might as well, man. You need to knock them in the 20. Let them get 90-yard drives. Let the opposing team get 90-yard drives and a lot of stats. But we can get into some more news, some more random news. The Bears sign Byron Pringle, Kansas City Chief legend right there. They also
word on the street, he has a chip on his shoulder.
he probably does going into Chicago. Hope that win won't-
I'll just say, I do think I was actually really surprised Kansas City let him out the door because I'm not gonna lie. Besides Tyreek and Kelsey, I feel like he was Mahomes' go-to down the stretch. I believe he had that better chemistry with Mahomes than McCole Hartman had ever had. So I think it was interesting that Kansas City, they haven't really they haven't addressed really anything in free agency besides safety with Tyrann Mathieu's departure or whatever. So I thought maybe some of this unused cap would go to re-sign some of their own players, which I thought Byron Pringle would be one of them, considering
You could probably get him
Yeah.
back for cheap, you know. And
Yeah, he is a cheap receiver that he has shown that he has a good connection with Mahomes, better than that of your second round receiver that you had selected in 2019, with being Mecole Hardman. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
yeah, man. Well, Bears made some moves as well. You know, they got rid of Danny Trevathan and Eddie Goldman. Then it's been bringing in some random guys. I can't remember who they brought in the past couple of days, but no one really spectacular. But yeah, Byron Pringle, the latest stud wide receiver to replace Allen Robinson, which is gonna be curious because you lose Allen Robinson. Who the fuck are your receivers? You got Darnell Mooney and then Byron Pringle. Who the fuck else you gonna throw to, man?
Yeah, they might have to address that in the draft.
Oh, they also signed Equanimus St. Brown, but still, that's a nasty. Equanimeous, whatever the fuck you say. That's a horrible damn wide receiver room. So they better draft somebody and bring in someone like OBJ or T.Y. Hilton or some shit. Juju Boo
I think
Schuster, Juju Smith Schuster,
Julio Jones question mark.
Or Julio Jones.
He's done. Julio's done.
Yeah,
at this point, it's crazy. Bring Antonio Brown in. Bring him in, Antonio Brown. Put them both together. You'd be ecstatic if it was 2015.
but Antonio Brown has way more football ability left than Julio. I'm sorry.
I agree.
But
even with England
here, though, I don't know.
If it's 2015, though, if the Bears got both of them boys, man, they'd be shitting bricks right now. But they both reached into the end of their prime.
And Andy Dalton. Don't forget.
Hey, Andy Dalton, he was still decent. I mean, he was decent at that time. Yeah, he took Cincinnati to the playoffs.
He was an MVP candidate that year. I remember.
Yeah, he was actually. But we got some more Raider news we could talk about. We got the Raiders, speaking of Chicago, signing former Chicago offensive lineman Alex Bars, and then former. We're speaking about the Panthers, former Panther, Lions, and other. He's been around the league. Amir Abdullah.
I'm actually a fan of Amir Abdullah. I've liked him ever since he was on the Vikings.
Yeah, we played him in. He plays special teams. He's a special teams guy.
Yeah, that and you know you can use him every now and then on a pitch. You know, he's not going to be a starter, but you know he's a rotational guy.
Again, he's like Ty Montgomery. We'll see if he makes it past the preseason ordeal. You know, you never know. Jalen Richard's also a free agent, right? So he might fill that role.
Yeah, he could fill that role.
Could possibly fill that role. Maybe you're getting Kenyon Drake back, so we'll see what happens. And then Alex Bars, you know, obviously you guys can do better on the offensive line still. I don't know if Alex Bars is the answer. I'm not too familiar with him other than his last name is Bars. But
yeah, I did some research on him. He's just a depth piece, to be honest. As with Amir Abdullah, there's not really much to say about him besides he had that one good run against McNeese State when he was on Nebraska. So
back in college.
But
man, you know what I realized though? I forgot to put the background music on. Damn.
Man, you so
yeah.
Well, it's playing during the countdown, so I was like, I'm gonna turn it off, and I forgot to turn it back on because I was too hyped to come back on. But yeah, we can get into more news. We pretty much just like the last topic. It was the last like free agent topic, and then we got a discussion to finish off the show. But Zadarius Smith remains a free agent after originally people thought he was gonna go back to Baltimore after being cut by Green Bay. I think it was on Monday. You know, he was.
Wouldn't be surprised if Raiders bring him in.
I was thinking Chiefs.
I feel like Chiefs.
It would not surprise me if anyone in the AFC West brings him in. You know, whether it be Raiders, Chiefs.
Just anyone in the AFC West.
Yeah, even Chargers. At this point, even Chargers.
At this point, they're competing with talent. They're competing with what talent you can bring in at this point.
Yeah.
Even Denver, man, fuck it. Put him with Chubb and Gregory. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. Bradley Chubb or whatever.
Gregory might get suspended again, man. He's a risk. Bringing Smith.
I'm led to believe that Zadarius Smith, he was originally, you know, planning to, you know, stay with Baltimore. I know he had backed out of the deal, but I believe he only backed out of the deal after seeing the contract numbers for not only Chandler Jones, but even I believe Von Miller was the biggest motivation for him backing out of the Ravens.
Right, he did neither of those type of contracts, though.
You guys think this has anything to do with the change at defensive coordinator for Baltimore? Because now they got that guy from Michigan.
I believe he knew about that beforehand, though, as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you never know. He might want to follow his buddy Devontae.
Who knows?
True. Yeah, maybe he might fuck it. I'll be a rotational guy with Jones and Crosby. Fuck it. I'll see. Yeah. Maybe
I
not
don't.
to be with
I don't see
Buddy
the
Adams.
Raiders shelling out that type of
Nah,
money for.
I
for
don't.
pass
I
rusher.
don't. But
Nah,
Especially
yeah,
after
hey,
his
man,
yeah.
I didn't think
Devontae
Adams is gonna be a.
I,
I didn't think Adams is gonna be a Raider today. So you never know. You never
I had
know.
a
I mean,
feeling he was gonna be a Raider, bro.
They've been the link to it. Like, oh, they're gonna bring him if it's a trade or, when his contract ends, whatever it was gonna be. There's always been
Nah.
that link there, but I
There
didn't
was a
think it was
guy on
gonna happen.
Reddit who said his sister-in-law works closely with Devontae Adams' agent, and he broke the news about 3 days ago, and nobody believed him. He had downvotes, and then if you go back up to the post, it has so much Reddit gold, so many upvotes. So it's
Yeah,
like,
everyone's like, wow.
They called it.
Yeah, who would have? I didn't think it was gonna happen on St. Patrick's Day, man. None of y'all wearing green, but Devontae Adams in that photo
on the 17th.
Hey, from Green
on the
Bay.
17th. Nah,
Oh
but
I
my
yeah,
just
same
God.
thing.
found out in the group chat when you guys broke it out. That's when I found out.
That's when
Yeah,
I found
Yeah,
out.
that's what I found out too.
I was telling you, man. I was
Philly
literally
football
about to get
broke
some
the news
tacos.
to me.
Caleb was just F5ing on Twitter all day, just waiting to send us that.
All right, not literally, man. I was just walking to get some tacos, bro. The park, crossing the street, trying to get me some Autobata tacos, man. At Frida's, if you live in
Autobata.
Escondido, man, that Frida's joint is kind of hot, man. But, yeah, man, I broke out. I'm like, what the fuck? My girlfriend was like, what the fuck you screaming about, man? You're across the damn street. Like,
You
get off
screamed.
your phone.
You screamed.
Yeah, I literally screamed out like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't think that.
Hey, I'm
on my
still
phone.
shook. I just can't
Yeah.
wait for the new Madden to come
Right.
out so I could finally have him on my
Using that
team.
black and silver.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. But we can get into our last actual discussion though before we head out. It's been a long Thursday. We got which team or teams are having the best free agency and who have been disappointing. I'll let you start, Jake.
For should I go with worst or best? I
How
can't
are we gonna
decide.
start it, man? Just let us know which one it is.
All right. Here, let's get the bad one out of the way first. My worst team. I'm gonna start with one for now. It's got to be the Dallas Cowboys for me, in my opinion. The Dallas
Yes.
Cowboys, man.
Yes.
You had a deal with Randy Gregory on the table. He was a Dallas Cowboy for a couple of minutes, and then all of a sudden, Denver.
Switcheroonie.
Apparently, the deal was the exact same, and then Randy Gregory backs out. So that kind of speaks volumes to the state of your team. I mean, and the Broncos are out there making the big time moves with Russ, and outside of Russ, I mean, like up until like the Russ trade, really the only thing Denver was missing was Russ. So now they have this well-rounded team, solid defense,
young talent around them. Patrick Surtain was.
Yeah, and
Patrick
apparently,
had a good year.
Randy Gregory likes, and I like too. I prefer Denver over Dallas right now, if I'm being honest with you. Despite the division. And then, you signed. We didn't talk about this yet, but Michael Gallup being signed that big money. It didn't
coming off injury too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
He's coming off injury. I know they let go of Amari Cooper by the trade. They got someone to take that ugly $20 million. So that was good on their part, but why not just draft a receiver? Bring someone who's maybe a little bit cheaper. Gallup's a good receiver, and I like him. He can be a big play guy, but I don't agree with the value that he's been paid right now.
Yeah,
I agree.
Then what team do you think is having the best or teams? Or unless you have another bad, disappointing team?
Well, I think the Jags are in between. Kind of like I question some of the contracts, but the players that they're bringing in, I like a lot. And I think the most underrated signing of the whole offseason of any team is Foye Oluokun, the linebacker from Atlanta.
From Atlanta, he had a good year.
He's a thumper, but he's also he's not just some bodybuilder looking linebacker that's just hitting people. He's athletic for a guy that plays with a thumper style of football at linebacker. So that's a good addition for Jacksonville that lost to Miles Jack.
Miles Jack, Damian Wilson. So
yeah, and that was unfortunate for them that they had to cut Miles Jack due to the salary cap. So
who do you say is having the best?
Best team? I don't have one right off the bat. I mean, I gotta say, and Denver's one of them for sure. I think. Oh, I'm stupid. The Chargers, of course. Yeah, that's mine.
You can say the whole
Sorry.
AFC West other than really the Chiefs.
Sorry, Raiders fans.
Oh yeah, no, for me it's the whole AFC West. Except for the Chiefs. Chiefs haven't made a lot of moves. I wouldn't give them a bad grade, but I wouldn't.
Reed
they're
was a good
done.
signing to replace Matthew, but
But they got
Yeah,
their
so-
superstar quarterback, so I'm not too worried.
Yeah, exactly. They're the Chiefs. You know, they're going to be competitive. They still have Tyreek Hill. They still have Kelsey. Raiders, Devontae Adams. You know, we needed that true number one threat. I think pairing him with Waller and Renfro is going to make for, you know, the best weapons Derek Carr's had his whole career. And if they can stay healthy, they can. I think they can make playoffs. You know, pretty much all these AFC teams. I mean, Chargers with J.C. Jackson's ludicrous contract. You know, it's going to be nice to see J.C. Jackson versus Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfro, see if they can
Twice a year.
compete. Yeah, twice a year.
going up against Russell Wilson
See
twice
how
a year,
Justin
man.
Herbert goes against Rocky Ya-Sin. You know, everyone in the AFC to me, AFC West has at least an A grade.
And I think I'll touch on just a couple of like individual winners, like not just the teams. I think a couple of player winners I'll bring up are the first and second overall picks of last year's draft, Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. They're getting the help that they need from this free agency. I love the Laken Tomlinson move for the Jets at guard.
Solid for
Now
protection.
all they're pretty much missing is right tackle.
Yeah, and
you
they
know,
get
they
Mekhi
have-
Becton back too because he got hurt week
Yeah.
one last year.
But Mekhi Becton, when he's out on the field, though, he's a superstar.
Yeah, the only concern is his weight, and he ended up getting
Yeah.
hurt against the Panthers week one. But hopefully, he's able to just take off some of that weight while healing. But that'll be a concern. But he did have a pretty good rookie year the year before.
Right. So Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson got to be happy out of their minds at the moment. So it's good on them.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that. You know, they're not the flashiest players, you know, the Jaguar signings, but, you know, they're serviceable players that, you know, the Jaguars are sorely lacking talent on many sides of the ball. So I agree. Good
Who do you
pickings for them.
say has been disappointing, Des?
Texans, I mean, they have been pretty active in free agency. They have a lot of players they sign. I mean, who was it they signed? Christian Kirksey, Malik Collins, but it's a lot of veterans on short-term deals, and you know they didn't really make a big splash with any big name players. So I think for me that they've been the most disappointing.
And
You know,
still
and
not
also
even a deal done yet.
losing Watson too. Yeah, no deal with Watson.
Get a
yet,
deal
you
done
know.
yet for Watson. We're all waiting.
Yeah. So I mean, things could change. They could get a good grade. You know, get some picks out of Watson or maybe some players. But yeah, until then, it's the Texans for me and the Cowboys.
Yeah. How about you, X? How you feeling? You can do. Which one you want to start off with?
I'll start by giving you guys a roadmap to the two teams I'm going to say right now. So I will first tell you the team that I believe is having not the worst free agency, but one that I specifically I'm not too fond of. So I'll start by giving you that one, and then I'll give you guys the parallel between the team that I believe is having the best one. And so a team that I think of when I think of disappointing in free agency is, and this might be unpopular, but I believe the Patriots. So I guess it first starts off with, and I know you guys will tell me this is the Belichick way, it happens all the time, but I think this is a little bit different because you don't have Brady. You don't have that superstar quarterback that you can, rely on to bail you out of this situations like this. So it first starts with losing J.C. Jackson, and it's not like J.C. Jackson got the number one cornerback contract. The Patriots are swimming in salary cap, and they weren't able to retain, one of their best players on defense,
corner, pretty much, yeah.
if not your best player on defense, who also happens to be a perfect scheme fit. And so then, they lose J.C. Jackson. They still have not made a move on any corner. And then you let Ted Karras go from the O-line, and then you let Trent Brown go. They both test the market in free agency. Ted Karras got signed. Trent Brown is still testing the market, but I don't really envision him being back with the Patriots because there hasn't been any, reports saying that both sides have showed interest towards each other, which, okay, cool. But then you also don't address that need on the O-line. You haven't signed any, decent veteran O-linemen to take their spots. and then
Mhm.
you send Shaq Mason over for a
Yeah,
5th-round
Tampa
pick,
Bay.
and Shaq Mason's not even on a huge contract. He's on a
You're
decent.
doing
That
Tom
was
Brady a
really
favor
smart.
at that point,
Right.
man.
And then that leads me to who's having the best free agency, and I look at the Buccaneers, and I believe this is also a Super Bowl team for next season. You know,
Getting
not
Brady back,
not for sure Super Bowl team, but a Super Bowl
I know.
contending team with your
Godwin.
superstar quarterback Tom
Yeah.
Brady.
You got
Godwin
Carlton Davis
resigning.
back.
Chris Godwin. You resign
Yeah.
Ryan Jensen. You know,
Yeah.
you get
Carlton
Mike Evans
Davis is back.
restructuring his deal. You get everybody back, and also
Gronk.
yes, Carlton Davis as well.
I'll say the
very
big piece though is Jordan Whitehead leaving to New York.
Yeah, they're gonna have to
New York,
address
yeah, New York, right?
safety need. Yes, I believe it was New York. The Jets, right?
Yeah, I was getting confused with him and then Marcus Williams. Williams went to Baltimore.
Yes, Williams went to Baltimore,
Okay.
and then Jordan Whitehead went to New York. Yeah,
Yeah.
to come out of that whole Tom Brady unretiring fiasco without losing, too many of your players. Of course, you lost. Who was it? Who retired? Ali Marpet. Ali Marpet. Yes,
Marpet, yep.
Ali
But then
Marpet,
you're able to replace it against Shaq Mason.
Shaq
Like,
Mason. So I just think that's a big win. It's crazy how good of a GM Tom Brady is. I'm not even sure how much credit you can give to Jason Light with all these re-signings. I mean, I will say he has been doing a good job getting like the current players to restructure, like Mike Evans, and freeing up cap space for him.
They still got some guys I'm sure they'd like to bring back. I mean, you got Fournette and Ronald Jones, both free agents. Ndamukong Suh's a free agent. Gronk, I'm sure if they want to bring Gronk back, they'll bring him back. OJ Howard left to
OJ Howard go to again?
Buffalo, right?
Bills.
Yes,
So even we didn't even speak on that when we were talking about Buffalo. Yeah, he went to Buffalo. So that, I mean, OJ Howard's kind of been overrated in my opinion anyway. But still, you lose that. They brought Cameron Brate back, but then I'm sure Gronk will probably return. But yeah, they're still, I'm sure they'll still be the, contending for the Super Bowl. I don't see Tom Brady going out without being a champion, man. That's why I'm not surprised he came back. His retirement lasted, the MLB lockout lasted longer than his retirement, man. So I didn't see Brady going out that way. I don't care what he said. He can say he's retiring. He pulled a Brett Favre, man. He's not going out unless he wins, bro.
Now I'm reading rumors. Okay, now hear me out. These are just rumors. Deshaun Watson, he's gonna switch to receiver to play with Tom Brady for 1 year, win a
Just to get
Super
that
Bowl,
ring.
and then dip.
I wouldn't surprise me.
They get him for a
He wants that ring,
28 7th round pick.
right?
Tom Brady will do that to you.
Man,
That's the Tom Brady
imagine.
influence. I think it's
That's
also really
Tom
impressive.
Brady.
This was a franchise that was just in limbo like 2
Well,
weeks
I
ago.
I saw a
had
tweet.
no clue what was going on.
I saw a tweet that is saying something like, "Well, receivers and players are willing to take a discount to play with Brady, but obviously in Devontae Adams' situation, they won't do it for Rodgers."
Yeah, and that also speaks
I
to
think
like
part
the
of
type
that is
rivalry it
because
Rodgers is
Yeah.
a fucking dickhead. But now I'll give you my best teams and disappointing. I say the ones that are having the best. I say Buffalo. Now that I think about it, you
Buffalo's one of them.
got
too.
OJ. You got OJ Howard with what's the dude? The other tight end's name? The white guy.
Knox.
Dawson
Knox. Dawson Knox. See, man, I haven't spoke about football in a minute. I'm forgetting people's names. Yeah, you get Von Miller. I'm not really big on the contract, but you still get that presence in that defense. They can do another corner, but they got rotational guys on to rush the passer. And I think they can bring us a couple more guys, maybe another receiver as well with Gabriel Davis and Stephon Diggs. Who you do lose Beasley and Sanders. Sanders wasn't really much of a factor anyway, but I think they're having a pretty good one to address the defense to make it even better to contend in the AFC. And then again, like I said earlier, the whole AFC West pretty much. I mean, I guess you can kind of not say the Chiefs, even though I thought Reed was a good signing to replace Matthew, but they still haven't really done much. But I'd say the Denver, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles, they're doing a lot to bolster up their offense and defense, because I didn't expect the Khalil Mack trade, and what they got for Khalil Mack, only what was it, 6th and a 2nd, to only give up that for Khalil Mack when the Bears gave up multiple, like what was it, like 2 first-round picks for him. So to get him for that, to bring him to pair him with Joey Bosa, man, that's gonna be scary for offensive lines, man. And you do get J.C. Jackson that helps your secondary. You got Derwin James back there still too. Who's their other safety? Who's the other starting safety?
Nasir Adderley.
Is he starting? Okay, so you got
Yeah.
Adderley. He's going
And I
into
think
like
Michael
surgery.
Davis is their other corner.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're helping your secondary out there.
Last year they had a solid pass defense. Their main thing was the run, which I
Asante
haven't seen
Samuel
them-
Jr.
Yeah,
I
you're
think
getting
that
him back.
was-
You're getting Asante Samuel Jr. back. He got hurt last year.
They
You
haven't
still got
addressed their needs in the interior though.
yeah, they got Austin Johnson
Joseph-
that was
Joseph
out and
Day,
Joseph
Sebastian
Day
Joseph Day.
reuniting. Yeah, Joseph Day reuniting with Brandon Staley during the time in LA for the
I
Rams.
like that signing too.
I thought putting in both of them on the inside to putting on the inside, and you got Mac and Bosa on the outside. So I thought that was really good for them. And then on offense, you do give I don't think Mike Williams deserves $60 million, but I mean you lock him up. He has his glimpses of shine, and then he kind of fades away. But you still got Keenan Allen. Who's their tight end? Who are they rolling with tight end? I think Jared Cook's a free agent, right?
I think
Yeah, they
it's,
did. They
Parham.
re-signed Parham.
Yeah.
Parham, but I don't think
And
he's
okay.
not a number one guy to me. I think they can improve
Nah.
on that.
And that
But
could be
yeah,
something
I
they
think,
draft
and then
too.
yeah, the Raiders are getting key guys like Averett, and then you
Bilal
get
Powell.
Chandler Jones. You trade for Rocky Hudson. Obviously, you upgraded because I'd take Chandler Jones over Yannick, and then you get rid of Yannick to get a pretty young corner that's still on his rookie deal. That's pretty solid. So that helps you guys out on defense. And then yeah, Denver's doing what they do. I think they did give up a lot for Russell Wilson, but I think a big piece that they were needing is consistency at the quarterback position. I mean, you still got Javonte Williams back there. He's on his rookie deal. You got young talent at receiver. You got a really good young defense. Locking up Simmons, and then you got Patrick Surtain back there. Patrick Surtain Jr., who had a pretty good rookie year. So, there's a lot of potential for Denver. I don't know if they'll be good off the bat, but if they make the right moves, they still got is it Nathaniel Hackett's their head coach, right? Or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
From the
So
Packers.
Nathaniel, and then I get him and Chicago's head coach mixed up too. So Nathaniel Hackett is a first year head coach. So I don't know if they'll be good off the jump, but they're trying to put themselves in that direction to contend in the AFC. Obviously, I'd say those are majorly the best free agents teams for me who have been disappointing. I know we say Cowboys. I think they've been disappointing to let Randy Gregory go. They almost lost to Marcus Lawrence, and they're trying to give him like a 1 year, $10 million deal, and he wasn't wanting that. So they eventually agreed to 3 years, $30 million. But they almost lost him. Get rid of Cooper, but you give Gallup a big contract that's coming off injury. And I get the Cooper trade because you already do have a number one in CeeDee Lamb, but and then he's been inconsistent. But you only give, what did you get from that? Like a 4th and the 6th round pick, right? I think it was
The Cooper trade was a 5th
Yeah.
rounder.
5th rounder, something late like that. But the only one that won that trade,
Raiders won the trade.
the only one who won that trade to me is Amari Cooper because he's still getting $20 million.
But Amari Cooper doesn't have a quarterback anymore, which
if it's Baker Mayfield or they're drafting one or whoever it's gonna be, he's still making $20 million and he's playing in Cleveland. I think as long as he's getting $20 million, he's chilling.
yeah,
I'd say them.
understand.
I could say
news.
Chiefs.
Devontae
I think Chiefs kind of been disappointed the fact that I don't know what their cap situation is, but at this point it doesn't look like the cap exists anyway. But they only bring in Justin Reed while the rest of the teams in your division are upgrading. I feel like they need to do more. They still need to give Hill more. They need to give Mahomes more talent at receiver other than Hill and Kelsey. I'm not big on McCall Hardman.
Yeah.
I'm not big on him, so I feel like they can do for another receiver. But I feel like they've been kind of quiet, and I know a lot of Chiefs fans on Twitter are asking for the GM to make some moves, and they haven't really done nothing other than replacing Matthew. Another team I think has been disappointing, and again, we're not biased on here. The Panthers, man. I told you I was gonna speak on them later. I'm gonna speak on them now. I like the moves that they did do with Corbett, Woods, and they got Dante Foreman, who I thought was a good solid player. He did good for when Henry went out last year.
Yeah, he was solid.
The backup, McCaffrey, because Chuba Hubbard wasn't that great as a rookie, and you can't trust McCaffrey's health right now. And then you get Rashard Higgins, that's a solid veteran, a role guy. But what's it called? The fact that you spent the past year trying to negotiate trades for Deshaun Watson, and that's not me vouching or wanting. Because again, I've seen a lot of Panther fans not liking it because obviously what he's going up against, and I get that. At the end of the day, all I want is to win. That's all I want. If we're a quarterback away, I want a fucking quarterback to fucking lead us to win. Because as you can see, we've been having problems with quarterbacks since Matt Rule and David Tepper taking over, the Panthers.
Yeah.
So
I think for you guys, it's time to draft a quarterback.
at this point, yes, because
bite the bullet.
At this point, I can go in the whole cycle how it went down. Yeah, you bring in Matt Rule, you cut Cam Newton, you give Teddy Bridgewater a 3-year, $60 million deal, then you cut Newton just to play out 1 year of fucking Bridgewater's contract, just to get rid of Bridgewater for a 6th-round pick. You trade for Sam Darnold during a QB heavy draft where you could have had Justin Fields, which I'm still not big on him, but I'd rather have Justin Fields than Sam Darnold at this point because Fields has a fucking ceiling.
There's no potential. Yeah,
Darnold has no ceiling. You saw that this year. People are like, "Oh, it's the Adam Gase curse." So you saw Tannehill, and I get that. And I was intrigued to see how Darnold would do. I mean, it's surprised that he had like 5 rushing touchdowns in the first 3 games, but other than that, like even those games when we went 3-0 was nothing really spectacular. Where I thought, or we're going to contend with the fucking Bucks or the Saints or even the Falcons. Like I still didn't look. It didn't look great. The play was still sloppy, and surprisingly, our defense did pretty good. But like our offense is obviously holding us back, and the main key is not just our quarterback, but our offensive line. Because it doesn't matter if we had Brady gets the ball out fast, but if we had like a decent quarterback, Dak Prescott, like we're still going to be shitty because our offensive line couldn't fucking block. And Darnold, and that's not to give it Darnold an excuse because even if we did have O-line, that motherfucker still can't fucking make the right decisions. He'll still be a turnover machine.
And he'll still see ghosts.
Exactly. So to go give up a 2nd, 4th, and a 6th for Darnold during a QB heavy draft, just to eventually sign Matt Barkley, then sign Cam Newton, just to bring Cam Newton back to sell tickets because that's the main plan. Because they know they weren't getting anybody in that stadium, so they used them as a publicity stunt to sell tickets.
David Tepper move.
David Tepper move. Just know that they were going to sell tickets, just to eventually cut Matt Barkley during the season, bench Cam Newton, which I didn't really think he got a fair share because again the offensive line couldn't block for shit. This to start Darnold to end the year again, and then now we're in a situation where. Now we're back to trying to trade for Deshaun Watson. It goes back to 2020, the beginning of 2021 in the offseason when the speculations were going about, his allegations, like before it got even more severe, like, they're in talks about trading for him. And you go a whole year trying to be in trade talks just to today at whatever time it was, 7 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. Pacific time to be out of the race. So you do all that just to be back to square one of not having a fucking quarterback. It's a big waste of time. Waste of time. A big slap in the face to our owner. Big slap in the face to our front office. A big slap in the face to the fans because, again, a lot of fans probably wouldn't want to be fans because I've seen a lot of people threatening, like, I'm not going to support the Panthers if you have I guess you could say, pedophile quarterback. And I get that. Like, I get that.
Yeah, I understand.
At the end of the day, I just want to win. Even if it's Deshaun Watson or if it's someone else, I just want to win. That's all I care about. And I do agree with the people that don't want Deshaun Watson. Like, I don't blame you guys for feeling that way. But I just want to win. And it's a big slap in the face to all his fans that support this team to go in a whole quarterback carousel just to be back to square one of not having a fucking quarterback. And then you go into a draft where you don't have a day 2 pick. You don't pick until day 3. After the 6th overall pick, you don't pick till Saturday. Because you gave up a 2nd-round pick for fucking Sam Darnold and the 3rd-round pick for C.J. Henderson, who got pretty much burnt majority of the year last year. So I hope we can bring back Stephon Gilmore because I don't want to see C.J. Henderson alongside J.C. Horn. I'm excited for Horn, but I don't want to see C.J. Henderson as the number 2 corner. I'd rather see J.C. Horn and Stephon Gilmore back there. But we'll see what happens because we also cut A.J. Boye, which I didn't agree. I think he did pretty all right for the games that he did play. So yeah, I'm gonna give them
good for the NFC South.
I'm gonna give them probably the most disappointing to me as a fan, and I like the signings that they have done. I like, but to go back to the whole get-go of everything that's gone on, it's been pretty disappointing.
Maybe that's the reason why Brady came back. He saw the competition in the NFC South, and
I think Brady saw the competition in the entirety of the NFC.
That too. I mean, all he really has to get past is the Rams, and they might be one of those one and done teams. Super Bowl blues hangover.
I'll say this, man. If we're able to land a top tier, a top quarterback, I guess you could say like Deshaun Watson. Like I was telling X last week, I would have been stoked if that would happen last week because before Tom Brady announced the fucking return, and then Saints don't know who they're going towards at quarterback, and then fucking Matt Ryan. He's obviously going downhill in his career. Like if you would have landed Deshaun Watson last week, like Panthers looking like they'd be on the rise. Like, you don't got Tom Brady no more. You don't, who knows what the Saints would do at quarterback if it's Winston or they roll with Hill or whoever it would be. And then if you were land a talent like Watson, or if fucking, you make a trade for a different quarterback, like if Rodgers eventually left and somehow wanted to play for Carolina, which I don't see any quarterback I don't see anyone wanting to play for us to begin with because how shitty this fucking front office is. But like, if we had our quarterback in place, you'd think we'd be ecstatic right now. But now you got Tom Brady back. Now you're out of the race for Watson. You got fucking, it's now between two teams that are in your division gonna land him that you're gonna have to face 2 times a year. Is again another slap in the fucking face that you failed to even get the fucking quarterback you've been wanting to get for the past year. So that's why I say they're the most disappointing team.
Man,
As well as resetting the tight end market with Ian Thomas.
That fuck, and then it turned out he got arrested, like I think last fall for some incident.
And
like,
I believe that's why they tried to get the extension out that quick too.
Yeah, I feel like, and then Ian Thomas, I don't even feel like we should have even gave him a contract. Let him go. I don't know why do we keep him? Like he's not that good. We got rid of Dan Arnold for CJ Henderson in that 3rd round pick trade, but I think Dan Arnold even played better with Jacksonville than fucking Ian Thomas did with us. Like we should have kept Dan Arnold and got rid of Ian Thomas. Like come on, man. Like I don't know what the fuck these people are doing. Maybe they wanted Dan Arnold and not Ian Thomas. I'm sure that's probably what it was, but I don't know what this front office is doing.
NFC is just.
I don't know what this front office is doing, man. But
open season.
Tepper needs to sell the team, or you got to get rid of Matt Rule after this year. Matt Rule's on the hot
AB and Kanye. Maybe AB and Kanye could buy the team.
You're right. Have them buy the team, man. Diddy, I'll let you buy the team, Diddy. Man, but Tepper doesn't know what he's doing as owner. He got to go. As of right now, it's first going to be Matt Rule because I don't see us contending in that fucking division, especially if one of them gets Watson.
Ever since Matt Rule came into the league, I never saw anything like special.
He sucks, man. And it's been disappointing.
I can say the first game against the Raiders was slightly encouraging until like
you run a fullback dive on 4th and 1 instead of giving it to the passes, bro. That's how you know how stupid this team is. That's how you know how stupid this team is. You give it to Alex Arma, our fucking fullback at the time. Then to give it to our fucking top player on fucking offense, bro. You give it to fucking a fullback.
You want to talk about a fullback dive on 4th and 1? Try quarterback sneak on 2nd down and 3rd down.
Oh boy, the Jake Fromm special.
Jake Fromm special. I love that. Let's go.
Man, it's been hard
being a stress for like a whole night that, oh my god, Joe Judge is coming back. What are we doing? And then the next day, I was like,
he gone. And then Dave Gettleman fucking stepped down, which I had to deal with as a Panther fan. Like, I feel you Giant fans, man. We fucking are the same boat. Disappointing. Bunch of disappointment. Maybe that's why I held Daily Football Zone. I had to take a brief hiatus from football, man, because I was just depressed. I don't know, man.
I can tell, man.
Hey, I get it, man. I had to deal with it with the Raiders.
Oh yeah, Raider fans, man. Y'all been miserable for decades.
We're finally like, seeing big names come to our team. So I'm excited.
Finally spending the money and not being cheap.
Yeah, being bold.
Or drafting players with 4.2 speed, like
Yeah, that's why like a lot of people have us, drafting Chris Olave, and I'm like, not anymore now.
Not anymore, but yeah, he's a San Diego product too.
We don't need to groom another rookie. We need to win now.
Yeah, man. But that's pretty much all the news and discussions we got for y'all today, man. I plan on doing more of more lives, just being able to talk football. We got the draft coming up. We got more free agency stuff coming up, so we can plan another one within the next week to come on here and talk some more football. I know Jake, you wanted to do more mock drafts, which I'm always down for. We can do more draft talk, and as the draft approaches, it's gonna be in Las Vegas this year. I was ecstatic for it until I realized we don't have any fucking picks. And neither do the Raiders now. Looks like the Steelers got all their picks though for the most part. So Jake got a lot to look forward to. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all spending
Wait,
tonight
but you have
talk
the number 6
great.
pick though, don't you?
Hey,
Yeah, just that, and then we don't have a pick till Saturday. Unless we
Oh,
trade back in.
fuck, that's
Because yeah, we
right.
gave up our second and third, so it's like, Saturdays, whatever, I care more about the first and second day. But yeah, man, I appreciate all you guys that tuned in. I appreciate you as well, Jake X and Dez. I'd love to come on here and speak football with y'all. Obviously, we're gonna do it more often this year for sure. Anything y'all want to say before we head out tonight?
It's all
Devontae Adams, number 17, got signed on the 17th. That's all I want to say.
That's all he meant. All he meant to be. He left the green for black and silver on St. Patrick's Day.
So he was wearing green.
I'm manifesting Raiders Super Bowl 2023.
One
Yeah,
can
we'll
hope.
see about that, man. One can hope, man. One can hope.
Gotta
Yeah,
have
man.
faith.
Right. Yeah, man. But I appreciate all you guys, and I hope you all have a great night. We'll see y'all soon. We'll talk more free agency. We'll get closer to the draft. Looking forward to it, and y'all stay safe, and see you next time.
Have a good night.